So, while at work today, I had a thought. I was like, let's talk about England, right? So, don't get me wrong. I like England. However, this is coming from the perspective of somebody from America. And we threw all of your tea in a harbor to get our independence. And if I would have known, we could have just waited. If everybody back then knew we could have just waited, we literally would have paid the 2% tax that was too much for our forefathers. Think about that. 2% tax. That's, man, I wish I was taxed 2%. That's crazy. 2% theft is way better than the 50% theft we get. Anyway, I mean, taxation's great. I love you, government. Please take my money. So, I was thinking about England. England, the place that made us, right? England, France, a little bit of what? The Dutch. Okay, so America. Hell yeah, America, baby. We fought it and we got it. So I started doing some research to try and iron out my ideas, which I'm calling how to give away how to politely give away an empire. And that struck me. I was like, how does someone politely give away an empire? And I thought, well, England did. England did that. So I want to preface this with, sure, I am an American, but I love the Spice Girls. I've always loved Spice Girls, ever since they got over here across the pond. And man, their music, I got all their music. I got all their CDs. I've got all their posters. I've got all their one VHS tape. Oh my goodness. That came with a poster. And it was golden. It was called Spice World. Oh man, it was such a good movie. And I don't care what anybody says. I love that movie. That movie is awesome. Spice World. Anyway, we're going to do kind of a weird Taylor thought process, right? On England from across the pond, or here in the better part of the world. Global superpower, baby. And we fought to get it. With that out of the way, I thought, well, let's move ourselves on to Queen Elizabeth II. But first, her dad, right? So we all know Queen Elizabeth, and we love her in our own way. We all paid attention. My mother made me watch every single parade that ever happened. And I'm an American. I never will understand my mother's viewing choices. It's just a common theme. But it's an interesting story I've been reading about, right? Just thought process of what happened. And there was an argument about the throne, right? Ireland, yeah. There's an argument about the throne, and one guy, the other guy, right? So Edward abdicated, right? And then Albert assumed the regal name George V, right? Well, sixth. Sorry, I had my mouse in front of that. I thought that was that. Anyway, he took his father's name for to take up the to bring up the confidence of the monarchy itself, right? Which was interesting because the other brother didn't get married or whatever. So this guy, this guy, he served in World War I. Okay. Um, but an interesting part is during all of that this brother's good, that brother's bad, the Irish decided to remove direct mention of the monarch from their Irish constitution. So they're like, ooh, they're arguing. Let's be free again. Way to go, Ireland. big W. Good job, buddy. But that started the whole process, right? Because in 1952-ish, I think it was, or 53, she comes into power, right? Oh, really? Queen? Okay. Fun. Okay. Mm. I was right the first time, 1952. She comes into play, which is when you start seeing all their colonies start to really disappear. So, interesting thought process, quite a regal female, doing her job. Her grandfather, the fifth, which we talked about, complete Chad, didn't even trust one of his own sons. He was like, nah, he'll ruin it in a year. So, when her father, uh, like, essentially abdicated, so we got to do this weird math. When he died in 52, she took over at 25, which, if I'm not mistaken, she was in like Africa or South Africa. She had a great thing about animals. And I don't care. I'm an American. Whatever. So then it moves on to what colonies did they have, right? Like which ones did they give away? They gave away North America, India, East Indies, Newfoundland, and other territories, including Africa, right? So during this time, 52 to now, uh, they've given everyone away, which leads us into this thought process. So there's 57.1 million people in, England, which, if you look it up, you see the English flag, right? You don't see, you know, that blue and red, you don't see the British Union Jack. You see the English flag, right? So that's a big telltale sign. So the English are a people. The English are a people, they are a culture, they are a body of people, much like Ireland is a body of people and Scotland is a body of people, right? They have a culture and a people and a body, right? So we're just going to focus on the English, not everybody else, but we are. So I did some little searches, and I was like, well, what's the demographics of England? It's like, well, in 2021, their younger population is very, very small. Very, very small. The English have 17.4% in 2021. Okay. Everybody remembers what happened in 2021, right? 2020. Yeah, that was a fun time, wasn't it? 15 to 64. So we'll cut that in half. So that means half of their people are essentially on retirement because we go like 50, 60, averages, the highest number overweighs the lowest number by a margin, or however that works. Sorry, and unfortunate as it may be, 65 and over is 20%. So 18%, 18.6%. So you've got it in 2021, 17% and 18%. Right? There's more old people than people being born. Right? It's 0 to 14. 65 and over. So these people can't have people. Some of these people can have people. And that number's lower than this number. So who's paying for all their bills? Who's who's paying for these people's pension? Who is? Imaginary people that don't exist? Anyway, I just thought that was funny. Then it was like, oh, major ethnic group in 2021 down by 81 well, they're 81% of their own England, right? Not Great Britain, not like across all the isles and all the places, just in England. They're down in their births of English, right? They're calling them white, but well, every English person I've ever met was very, very, very white. Some of them were gingers, but I think they were Irish. Anyway, so of this major ethnic, oh, British white, 70%. And then there's that Irish white, 0.9. Right, so it's 0.70, well, 73.59, right? This is 2021. This is before everybody moved around and all the other weird votes they got and everything like that, right? Like, this is the only thing I can get over here in America, right? Other whites, 6%. Who are the other whites? No one knows. They won't tell you. And I'll get to that later. They won't tell you because I asked them and they kind of gave me the middle finger. Minor ethnics, Asian British. Some Asian. We think what? Japanese, Korean, Thai, French. Well, French. Sorry, slip of the brain. I'm going to get to the French thing later. But okay, so Asian British. We know what they mean by Asia, right? So 10% of their population is now Asia, quote unquote. Black British, 4.2%, which has stayed steady probably forever. British mixed, obviously, people will fall in love, which is good. Doesn't matter. Integration is great. You know, you fall in love with the girl and, you know, you have kids and you get married and pay taxes. Those things we love, taxes. And then other, 2%. So that's an interesting swell of number in 2021. Then you go down to like density populations and stuff, which, you know, if you want to get further into that, go watch, you know, the podcast of the Lotus Eaters or whatever it's called. I think it's that. So there used to be this thing called chavs, and I even know about this back day, back in like the 2012s. I heard about chavs, and I looked up chavs, and like I had to figure out what a chav was because you know they don't give you a lot of information. But I got pictures, and I was like, ah, yes, I have images of chavs. What are chavs? I remember being like young British white kid, essentially troublemakers. You know, we have them here. We got lots of those here. Oh man, I can tell you stories. Well, you know, that's what they look like. They're chaps. They are what you expect from, you know, white, low class people causing trouble. And we had those, they were called jackass and, you know, misfits and things like that. Everybody mentions jackass names, right? And then I was like, London today. What is London today look like, right? Like that's where the Spice Girls were. I like Spice Girls. What's happening in London? What does it look like? And it's like, well, London is 41% of its population is born outside of the UK, according to that 2021 census. That's interesting. So how can almost 50% be not English in the English Empire's capital, right? Because that's like where Parliament and the capitals are at, right? So most of the people living in the capital of the country aren't from there. Where are they from? So I went like, oh yay, London ethnic population from 1994. Let's go back to the, you know, let's go back to the 90s and see what it says. And it's like, yes, there is data approved. And I was like, okay, well, what is that data? And they're like, thank you, you asked for this. Here's your middle finger. We won't answer your question. And I even tried to get this from the census from England, uk.gov, up here, right? uk.gov. Here's your kite. You may go fly it from 2024 to 2060. So in 2060, I can probably give you the answer of what it is. right? Okay. So, with that being done, I wanted to have a little thought about, well, if that's all changing, what about the Royal Navy? Well, let's look at the history of the Royal Navy before 1707, right? So, the British have had a navy since 1546. But somehow, people in boats managed to get into England. It's a weird concept. So we have all these people, well, they have all these people that they don't know where they're coming from, and they have a navy that's been around for like 200 and like 20 some odd years before my country was even founded, which is a crazy concept. My country did not exist 15, 16, 17, so 200 at least years, and they have a navy, but they can't like figure out how their island water works. I don't know. I mean, we just built a wall, and we were like, nah, everybody go home. He's no, no, don't understand it. So then I'm going to touch another subject, the Anglican Church. So from memory, everybody's going to light me up in the comments for this entire video and probably tank my entire YouTube career. But so there was the Anglican Church, and I remember there being from the history books a war about this, right? I'm not the smartest guy, and if you want me to do a whole bunch of research, I'm not. I'm a gaming channel, but it made me think about it like, okay, so the Anglican Church is the church for the British people who are Protestants, right? Yeah, well, yeah, it is. I looked it up. Yeah, it is the Anglican Church, right? So, King Henry VII declared independence from the Roman Catholic Church through the Act of Supremacy because he's the king of his island and nobody can tell him what to do on his island. Saying there's a weird theme here. No one can tell me what to do on my island except for I don't know how boats work, but I've had a navy for, well, since the 1600s, a proper, actual navy. And, you know, they managed to turn like the Bible into English. So the only during all this, I'm not going to get into it, but like the only reason I'm allowed to even read the Bible is because this guy literally had a war with Rome, which France got involved with because they're French and man, they want to fight wars, especially with the English for whatever reason. I guess it's because they got pushed down so many times, including by the Vikings. No, Danes. Way to keep it clear. So they have their own religion, and they have their own island, and they have their own navy. Okay. Do they have an air force? Well, well, yes, they do. As a matter of fact, on April 1st, 1918, which I know they had airplanes before that because they had those little two by winged airplanes. Well, I don't know what they're called. Biplanes? There we go, biplanes. They had those in what 1914, 1916 because they were fighting against the Germans during World War One, which takes us back to George, who served in the military um, before all this happened to them, and they politely gave their empire away over time. Then they have a military. Oh wow, they have an army. Crazy. The British Army has been around since 1660, like the proper British Army, which is still older than my country by more than 100 years. That's crazy. They have a standing army that is older than my country by well over 100 years. Yeah, I can't figure out how to solve their riots. And we know why. So it blows my mind. We'll go back to Spice Girls because it's happier times, right? This is, the 90s, late 90s, albeit 90s. So, in forethought, like, I love you guys, but honestly, what are you doing, man? Like, got a whole country, it's your little island, and you just choose not to be on the island? I have some English friends, and they moved to, like, Australia, right? I heard about them moving to Australia. Some came here to the US, and, you know, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. Like, you have all of these standing institutions, and since like the 900s, so, well over 1,001 years of you doing your thing. And then now, since like, the 2000s, you decided, nah, we don't want our own thing. What a crazy thought process. But no wars were fought for it. They gave away, like, Africa colonies. They gave away India, Jamaica, I think it was. Uh, Everywhere around the world they had, like, settlement, and they had money and revenue and taxation and all this other good stuff. But I hate taxation. But my point, that was thriving their empire, and they just politely gave it away. And they did it because, in my opinion, it was the queen. She had a, what, questionable lineage, which, okay, but still, that's your magistrate. That's your person that both runs the church and the state. So why would you give away both the church and the state? And your peasantry just runs away. So we're free here, and y'all ain't free like we're free, obviously. I'm seeing what's happened to you guys with Kia Stammer, so good luck with that, dude. Like, you're gonna get, like, that one guy got how many years for stickers? Put some stickers on a trash bin. You got how many years? It's just wild, man. And over here, I'm glad it's not that bad. Like, we lived through the liberal nonsense, but, like, I don't understand why you guys, like, went this far with it. It's pretty crazy. Well, I mean, you guys are now doing your things politely with your flags, and good on you for the having a British flag. Not, well, an English flag, not a British flag. Not no Union Jacks. Maybe there's some in the backgrounds, but at least you guys did your thing, or are trying to do your thing, because it is your little tiny island, and enjoy your little tiny island. You know what I mean? Be happy on your little island. Don't push out into anybody else's island, but just enjoy your island, because other people are pushing it to your island. And just like the Irish, well, Northern Ireland, if somebody's going to push into your little island, push them out of your little island. It's your little island. If somebody came into my house, I'd be like, get out of my house. Please, get out of my house. Not, oh yeah, sure, that furniture is yours now. Like, that's crazy talk. I'm not gonna let them just sit on my furniture. Get out of my house. Go back to your house. You have a house, or if you don't have a house, go make a house. Like, man, get out of here. I don't know what you're doing at my home. I don't know. Blows my mind. I can't. I don't know. I don't know. And then you pay them on top. Like, I paid somebody to sit on my couch. I paid someone. They sat on my couch. I paid them some more money to sit on my couch in my house. I'm paying for the electricity. I don't know about you guys, but electricity here is crazy expensive. Crazy expensive. I can't afford that. I'm gonna turn the air conditioner on so somebody else can sit on my couch, and I give them, like, $200 to sit on my couch. I don't want somebody to sit on my couch and I have to pay them. I don't know. I don't know. Do what you guys are doing, but come on, man. Just make more Spice Girls or, like, Warhammers. Like, make me some more Warhammer figurines. Not like the terrible ones they make now, but like better ones. Like more, yeah, I don't know, spiky or something. I don't know, just make more Chaos Marines, I guess. But, ah, super confusing to me. And I mean, I'm not a political scientist or I don't really understand all this. It's something that was bothering me at work. Just thinking about like, what's going on over there? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing with your time? Maybe you should just not. Just do something else. I don't know, farm something. Be like, man, it's okay. You can't sit on my couch. You go outside. I don't know. Help me work in the farm. Like, loafing around, milling about. Just, yeah, no, stop it. Go help me in the farm or something. I don't know. Or go home. I don't know. You gonna help me with the chores or you gonna go home? I remember that's the way it was when I was a kid. If I'm over my friend's house and they told me like, oh yeah, uh, I'm gonna hang out. Well, that's really cool. I've got chores, dude. Like, you're gonna help me feed the horses, or you're gonna help me like clean the stable? No. Well, then you gotta go home. Like, you're not just gonna sit here until dinner happens. Like, you can put in the work, or GTFO. I don't know. I don't know. But it's not. Guys are very politely giving everything away, and I'm just kind of confused by it because we're not politely giving things away, but we never did. I mean, we threw your tea in the harbor, and it was extra funny even a couple hundred years later that we threw your tea in the harbor. It's still funny to us, just so you know. And it was over 2% of taxes. So, y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Um, y'all are probably really, really mad by this point, so bye.